are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again, and today we have another amazing guest for y'all. Man, we're going to talk to Now King Jr. He's the author of American Ramble, A Walk of Memory and Renewal. And man, Now King Jr., first and foremost, man, thank you for taking time. How are you doing this morning?
Good, Shemaya. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Man, I appreciate you being on, man. So this memoir that you written for the readers, kind of tell us what inspired you to write about your journey on this.
You know, I walked out my door. I lived 9 blocks from the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. It was the end of March 2021. You might recall we'd all been through a lot of stuff over the previous year. COVID, you know, the George Floyd incident in Minneapolis, all the protests that came after that, the tearing down of statues of various kinds, the election, the whole debate about our nature as a country, where do we come from, what's good or bad beginning story, all that stuff was just such a huge topic of conversation internally within my own head, and just walk out my door and take a long walk up to New York City through a really important foundational part of the country and kind of think about us and where we're all heading in the early part of our story and look at the historical things along the way. And it was really quite an extraordinary 26 days all the way around. And I try to make some sense of it all in the book I've written.
And you met individuals along your journey. If you came to the audience, was there any particular individual or just people that left a lasting impact on your journey?
You know, it's funny. I assume we all make friends at our own rate, maybe, 2 or 3 or 4 a year if we're lucky. In this case, I guess because I was out there kind of exposed and very open to things. I met, 15 people over the span of a month that I would now consider to be friends. And it's kind of amazing how that can happen. I met a lot of great folks just out bringing their trash can in. I met one guy named Ted who gave me this great kind of spontaneous sermon about, once I told him what I was doing, he said, I think you're out to sort of retune yourself, bring yourself back into the right harmony. And while doing that, you're going to retune the whole country. And I'm like, really? Seriously, Ted? You think I'm out to retune the whole country? That's a serious weight you're putting on me. But I had so many great discussions like that just sort of spontaneous moments at the end of people's drives and the like. And those were great encounters.
We're talking to Now King Jr., author of American Ramble, A Walk of Memory and Renewal. And just in case people slip underneath a rock, man, you are a former national security reporter and editor for the Wall Street Journal, and you were deeply involved in the coverage of 9/11 that won the Journal, New York Times, and the Atlantic, the Wall Street Journal, and many others. So with your experience, what was your mindset for this memoir for the readers to learn and take away from?
That's a good question. A lot of it was what the mindset was when I walked out my door. And my whole thing was, to the extent, it's not like we can hit erase and just sort of erase all of our preconceptions about things. But I tried to do some equivalent of that, just to go out with an open mind, being really attentive to what was happening along the way, not walking along listening to music in my earbuds or podcasts or whatever, but just paying attention to things. And it was that degree of kind of attentiveness and openness that I found just to be really amazing over those days as they added up. And it's what kind of led to what I hope to be the richness that people find that are interested in the book itself, because it's the result of that exercise in thought, in a way, because we live such cluttered and distracted lives now, So some of it was less of a physical exercise of doing the walk and more of a mental exercise of what frame of mind I wanted to have while doing it.
And preparing yourself for this journey, it wasn't a short distance. So what was your strategy in preparing yourself?
I walked a lot in advance, and I carried a pack with just some weights in it to get my back and everything kind of attuned to. I wasn't carrying tons of weight, 18, 19 pounds. So that was the sort of physical thing. And then I did read a lot and look at a lot of the old maps and a whole variety of things to kind of put my head in the right place to better understand the land I was going to be crossing and the people that live in these places. And, as in any of these places, whether it be San Antonio or parts of California or Oklahoma or whatever, and people settle in places. These places have very distinct, atmosphere and environment. I've been in San Antonio. It's a really, really interesting place, very distinct. All these places are distinct, and I wanted to go with the understanding of what made them distinct, and that also made a big difference. So it was both a mental and a physical preparation.
And what has been any meaningful feedback that you receive from readers and just people who met you along the way?
There's been a lot of gratitude from people that have read the book so far, because it kind of opened up some better understanding of our collective history, but also kind of a window into a different sort of spiritual approach towards any of us being here now. How do we allot our time, and what qualifies as a meaningful use of it? And, I've heard from a number of people, which sort of surprised me, but also gratified me, that they cried in various portions of the book, which is, I don't know about you, but I don't spend a lot of time crying when I'm reading books. But I was kind of amazed by that. But people are touched by it, I guess. I went to an event last night in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and there were like 300 people showed up. And I was just shocked by that, and filling an auditorium just to talk about a book. That was pretty good.
Once again, people can get this amazing memoir book by Now King Jr., author of American Ramble, A Walk of Memory and Renewal. And with today's climate for, political, we don't want to get too deep into that. But how does this book also kind of create an escape from people from, taking a break from all the, intense topics that we see on the news cycle?
I don't want to argue as if these things don't exist, because they do exist. But on the other hand, if we fill our lives with just these sort of abstract ideas of these other people that, for some reason frighten us or make us wonder about the direction of the country, whichever side you're looking at it from, it's just a bad way to go about it. And I went out on this walk in part just to meet with everybody I could and really look at the country in a fresh way, and to see what is truly a different place when you put all that other stuff out of your mind. And I guess I hope the book, shows that part of the country to people, and also opens up kind of a different way of looking at things that isn't just so devoured by all the stuff on the daily news, promulgated by people that are really, I think, wanting to create divisions that aren't necessarily reflective of the reality of the country itself.
American Ramble, A Walk of Memory and Renewal. You can get this book on Amazon. I want to say thank you to you, Now King Jr., taking time out of your schedule talking to us today, man.
No, I really appreciate it, Shemaya. It was really fun to talk.